When we talk about AI risk, we usually picture a machine taking over, right? But what if I told you the real danger starts way earlier, before a single task is ever automated? Today, we're digging into a really critical idea: authority without automation. We're going to find out where the risk actually begins.
So let me just ask you this straight up. When you think about an AI system, what's the exact moment it starts to get risky?
For most of us, the answer feels pretty obvious. The risk kicks in when the system starts doing things all by itself, when it's fully automated, making changes without a human needing to sign off on every little thing.
But here's the twist. That's not really it. The real risk, the actual starting line, is the moment a system gains authority. And the crucial part, that happens long before it ever takes a single action on its own.
So, how in the world does that shift happen? How does the system's simple influence quietly morph into real, actual power?
To really get this, we're going to use a tool called the life cycle lens. Just think of it as a map. It shows us the entire journey of an AI system, from a simple idea to something fully operational, and it lets us pinpoint that exact moment authority changes hands.
Okay, so let's look at the very beginning of this map, over here in what's called the assistive AI zone. At this stage, systems are basically just feeding us insights. They're read-only, everything feels totally safe because the human is 100% in the driver's seat. But this is where the quiet shift starts.
Now look really close at this line. This is the authority boundary. And this, right here, is where everything changes. It perfectly shows our main point. The risk doesn't start way over on the right when things get automated. No, it starts right here, the second we start trusting the system's output to guide our decisions. So it all comes down to this. Authority shifts the moment human reliance begins. I mean, think about it. If an AI suggests something and you just click approve without really thinking, who made that decision? You did or the system? Your action was anchored to its recommendation. The authority has already moved from you to the machine.
And this leads us to our next big idea. The hidden danger isn't about the AI doing something, it's about the AI shaping our decisions long before anything ever happens.
There's a name for this. It's called decision shaping. And it's what happens when a system doesn't just hand you raw data. Instead, it actively decides what you see. It filters your options, it prioritizes choices. It's basically curating your reality.
Let's just break that down a bit more, because the difference is huge. Decision shaping influences you. It determines the options you even get to consider. It guides your thinking. An automated action, on the other hand, just executes a task. One shapes the mind, the other just moves the hands. That is a massive, massive difference.
And this is exactly why it matters so much. The source material puts it perfectly. Risk increases at decision shaping. Waiting for automation to appear before applying controls is too late. If you wait for full automation, you've completely missed the boat.
So, why do so many really smart teams not see this happening? Well, it's just basic human psychology. Having a person in the loop makes us feel safe. We think, hey, I'm still the one hitting the button. But what happens over time? Our trust in the system builds, and our active involvement slowly turns into just passive deference. We stop questioning, and we just start accepting. And because teams often miss this subtle shift, that's exactly when you see governance bodies step in. They look at risk in a totally different way, and they play by a whole new set of rules once that authority has been handed over.
The second your system crosses that authority boundary, the moment it starts shaping decisions, bam, a whole new set of roles kicks in. Accountability can't be some vague idea anymore. It has to be spelled out. You have to start recording evidence for why decisions are being made. And yeah, you need controls, even if a human is still the one physically clicking go.
And this is where you get that classic friction, right? The project team thinks they've just built a helpful little assistant, but the governance team looks at it and sees a system with real authority that hasn't been acknowledged or controlled. So they hit the brakes, not to be difficult, but because they see a risk that the team has completely overlooked.
So let's just bust two huge myths right now. Myth number 1, an approval step makes it safe. The reality? If that approval just becomes a mindless rubber stamp, it's not a real control. And myth number 2, automation is where the risk begins. The reality, as we've seen, is that authority is where the risk begins.
Okay, so if this is the reality of the situation, how do we build these systems the right way? Let's get practical. Here's a guide for designing with authority in mind from day one.
Here are 3 really critical design principles. First, put your safety checks, your gates, in place before a recommendation even gets to the user.
Second, apply controls to the recommendation logic itself, not just the final click. And third, create stop conditions for the decision shaping. You gotta ask, in this situation, should the AI even be making a recommendation at all?
All right, let's wrap this up by being super clear about what this all means for you, what this explainer is saying, and, just as importantly, what it is not saying.
So, to be crystal clear, this analysis shows you how authority can shift to an AI even when there's zero automation involved. The whole point is to help you spot that risk way earlier. This is absolutely not me telling you to avoid assistive AI. It's incredibly useful. And finally, just watching this doesn't give you a green light to deploy anything. It's about building awareness.
So I'm going to leave you with this one final thought that just sums it all up perfectly. Authority does not begin at execution. It begins when systems are trusted. And recognizing the moment that trust turns into reliance, well, that's the whole key to building safer, more responsible AI.